Hello there. My name is Mary Shadbolt of Art Classes with Mary Shadbolt in downtown Denville. I am an art educator and I'm about to walk you through a painting on how to create an Among Us inspired painting. There's a lot of color mixing involved, so I'm going to turn my camera so it faces down and then we can get started. Get myself a little situated here so you can see everything. Okay, now we're good to go. So starting off, if you got the kit from me, you're going to start off with a canvas board and you're going to have a paper plate. You will have also gotten some paints that look like this and one or two brushes. In addition, you're going to need a a water cup and some paper towels. And now I'm just going to get started. When you are an artist and you're getting ready to set up to paint in your area, if you're right-handed, everything should be on the right side. If you're left-handed, everything should be on the left-hand side. Okay, no more instructions on that. Let's start painting. So starting off, you're gonna do the background first, and that is just simply yellow. So we're just gonna paint the whole background yellow using the bigger of the brushes that you have. If you got the kit from me, the Among Us crewmate has been done in pencil on your canvas board or possibly Sharpie. So you're just gonna paint around that. It's okay if you if you cross the lines, it's not a big deal, don't worry about it. I don't ever want anybody to panic. Artists are very good at fixing. So here you can see I went over just a little bit, but it's no big deal because we have black and we are going to be outlining at the end. So I'm just going to continue to cover my background. If you're painting at home, hopefully you have newspaper or an old tablecloth covering your painting area, just in case, because this is acrylic paint. We want to make sure the acrylic paint doesn't get on your kitchen table or wherever you're painting. All right, I'm almost done. So painting the background goes pretty quick. When you get close to your crewmate, you just go a little bit slower just to help you kind of control that paintbrush and make sure it stays where you want it to stay. So I always end up talking slower or stopping altogether with my speech when I get close. Okay, here we're almost done. So I did that side, the top. Now I just have this little section left. And then once we're done, we're gonna completely rinse out our brush. And I'm going to show you how I do that because I have a little method to my madness and I thought I would share. All right, I'm almost done. And then I'm just gonna grab my water cup to make sure it's on camera. So you're gonna need your water cup, of course, to rinse out your brush, but don't bang it. We're gonna swish it back and forth so that you can see. I'm kind of letting it hit the sides, and that is helping to release the pigment from the bristles, but it is not damaging the bristles themselves. So I'm just swishing it back and forth, and then let me move my paper towel over here so you can see. When I'm done, I then paint it on my paper towel, and you can see a little yellow came out, if you can see that. Is that on camera? There we go. A little bit of yellow came out, so I'm just gonna rinse it a little bit more. So you see the method to my madness? I pretend to paint on my paper towel. There we go, just to make sure that it's completely clean when I am finished. Okay, next, we're gonna paint most of the crewmate. So we have blue. Oh, actually, I'm gonna switch to my other brush. So I have there was a wider brush to do the background, and now I'm switching to this slightly smaller brush. So when I do that, there we go, I dipped it in my blue paint. So I'm gonna do most of the crewmate. So what you probably remember from the Among Us characters is that they have a lighter shade and then there's some highlights. So with this blue, I'm just painting most. I'm not gonna fill in the whole space. And now that I'm getting some color in here, it should be a little easier to see, like at the end, this whole section here is gonna be that black outline. It was a little tricky to see it before, so I just wanna make sure I pointed that out. So when we're painting with acrylic, we wanna paint back and forth or up and down. We never wanna kinda do this motion. That is reserved really for colored pencils, for crayons, for markers, for pastels sometimes, but not for paintbrushes because that does damage the bristles themselves. And if you are a student of mine, a regular student of mine, you've probably heard me say that like 1,000 times, but it is important. We want to maintain the integrity of our paintbrushes. Okay, so I'm almost done actually, because it goes pretty quick. Okay, so I've got the blue, where I say like fill most of it, that's most of it. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a scoop of blue and I'm gonna put it on my plate that I'm now going to use to mix. And then I'm gonna rinse out my brush, because next I'm gonna grab some white, and I don't wanna put blue into my white. So next I'm gonna grab some white, and I'm gonna put that on my plate. See how I put them next to each other, not on top of one another, because now I'm gonna start mixing. Okay, so I'm gonna take some white and a scoop of blue, and now I'm gonna mix the two together, because I'm not sure if I'm gonna like the color or not, so I didn't wanna use all of it. What I wanna do is make the blue lighter, but not baby blue. All right, so this is a nice kind of tint, lighter. It's very close, if I'm gonna do it like this, it's close to the original blue, but a tint lighter. So using that, I am going to start just putting in where the highlight hits. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stop talking altogether. So we're gonna start mixing and blending. So you don't have to wait for the original blue to dry. It's okay if it's still wet, because it gives you a chance to kind of blend the two together. When we do the crewmate's body, we use white. When we do in here, so whatever this is, the eye, the goggle, the lens, that's where we're gonna use a little bit of the black. Okay, so now I'm gonna just dip my paintbrush in the original blue, just to soften that edge. I didn't want it to look like a stripe, so I'm just gonna help blend it a little bit better. Color mixing is one of my favorite things. I love that I get to experiment with the colors. It's just fun. It's every time you do it, you can kind of practice. So, you know, maybe every time you do it, you get a totally different color, but sometimes when you mix, your goal is to recreate what you already have. So it's just interesting. You know, you start to really notice how much paint your paintbrush picks up. I don't know. I've always really enjoyed color mixing. Okay, so I'm almost done here. Oops, I got a little bit of blue in there by accident, but you can see now how it's just looking like a soft blend. And then it's gonna be lighter again up in this section. So to do that, I already have this color, so now I'm just gonna take a little bit of white and mix the white in there to make it a little bit lighter, a lighter tint. Anytime you add white, it becomes a tint. Anytime you add black, it becomes a shade. And you can remember that for shade like shadow. So when you do a shade, you're adding black. All right, so this lighter tint that I've now added is just going to be in the whole area that is closest to this section. So remember, this is gonna be a black outline. So I'm almost done. And then I have to do over here too with that same color. So hopefully you mixed enough to do these two little sections. If not, now's the time where you get to color mix and challenge yourself. Can you recreate that same tint or get pretty close? Again, that's like one of my favorite things. Okay, so I need a tiny bit more, and I just have a little bit on the edge here. I'm gonna use that to do up top. Yay. So this is kind of a fast painting, but it's really fun because of all that color mixing. Okay, now I'm gonna rinse out that brush again. So to keep it on camera, I'll bring my paper towel over here. And once again, I'm swishing back and forth. And then I'm gonna paint it on my paper towel. I have a little bit of white on the silver barrel, so I'm just gonna wipe that off. But okay, nice and clean. All right, so now we're switching to this section in here. So now we need that blue again. So I'm gonna take some blue and put it on my plate for mixing. But now I need black, and I only need like a dot. So I'm not even gonna take over like a whole bunch. I'm just using whatever I just put on my brush, and I'm gonna mix that in, and that's probably gonna be way too dark. So when you mix black with blue, you do start to get kind of like a charcoal gray color. So this color that I just made right now is pretty dark, but I actually kind of like it the more I mix it, because I still had a little bit of white on my plate. I'm gonna add that in too. Yeah, that I like. Okay, so this in here is gonna be this dark color that I just made, the shade, right? Because we added black, so we did a shade instead of a tint. And I'm gonna just spread this in here. And it's just around the edge, and then it's gonna get a little bit lighter, and then this right here is gonna be pure white. So the color that I just mixed on my paper plate, I'm now gonna add white to that so that it gets a little bit lighter. So I already have this. Now I'm adding some white to that so it gets lighter. I left that part right there so I'm able to kind of compare. There we go. This actually looks like the color of my living room. Okay, now I'm gonna spread this in, and you can see I'm kind of painting in this like oval shape. Not only is this an oval, but as I'm painting, I'm using arced brush strokes. And that is just helping to spread it and keep that kind of oval shape. All right, get a little bit more in here. And then I do have this kind of marked out, but I actually want to make it a little bit bigger. So now I'm going to use just white on my brush. So I didn't rinse my brush this time, and that's okay. So I just take a scoop of white. Yeah, and then I'm going to do that because I want it to blend a little bit. And there's my white highlight. So I'm super excited about that. That was a really easy little guy there, and that was kind of fun. In fact, it was so fun that I'm not stopping. I need to stop. Okay. Then I'm gonna swish out my brush, and then the last thing I'm gonna do is this black outline. So if you are doing this at home, if I'm going a little fast, you know, you of course can pause this and then you can catch up. But if there's anything else you want to add to this painting, if you wanted the background to be a different color, if you have paint at home, you could use whatever you have at home, or if you want to add more designs with some of the colors I gave you, or you know, if you want to mix a new shade or a new tint, you can absolutely do that. But I am going to just kind of put in this black background, outline, and then I'm done. I'm just gonna talk kind of slowly now because I'm concentrating. And all those places where I might have gone over the line a little bit by accident, totally fine now because I'm painting black on top of it. All right, get down and around. And then I'm gonna do like in here next. When I do stuff like this, I like to kind of start on one side and move across, or I start at the top and then move down. And I do that so that I don't lean in it by accident. So I don't have to worry about it getting paint all over my arm. Believe me, it's happened. So that's why I have this process in place. Okay, so as you're painting, we have the flat side of the brush, and then if you turn it, you might notice that it gets a little bit skinnier. So if you want to use the skinny part, you just turn the way you're holding it. And then if you want to go back to the flat part so it covers more area, go back to the flat part, and then you'll be able to put down more paint at once. That's what flat brushes are really good for, that because you can also get a round brush that comes to a point almost like a pencil. But for this project, a flat brush is perfect. All right, I took too much paint, so I'm going around before I go back and smooth it out. And then I'm going to use the skinny part of the brush, so I turned it to go back and kind of perfect my outlining. There we go. So as you're watching this, if you have the ability to take pictures, I would love to see what yours looks like. I'd be really excited about that. And if you're watching this as a video and you can comment, you should drop me a little note and tell me, you know, did you like making the shades better? That was when we added the black. Or did you like making the tints? The tints better. All right, so now I've made a mistake. And now I can use that as a teachable moment to show you how I'm gonna fix that. But before I get to that part, I wanna finish doing my black outline. I can't believe I just did that. But accidents happen, right? And I'm not gonna stress out because this painting is just for fun and I know how to fix it. And I will show you how to fix it before I end this video. But yeah, tell me which you like better. Do you like making shades or tints better? I'm taking like a poll of all of my classes anytime I do color mixing. Usually people like to make tints better with the white, but I'm not finished asking, so I just want to see which one is the winner. All right, almost done with my black. Swinging it around. And then once I'm done, of course, this part aside, because I'm going to fix that, but once I'm done, then I take a good look and see, I check my craftsmanship. Are there any areas where I missed a little bit? Do I need to fix anything? Does anything else need like a nice highlight? I see that my white is drying and it's kind of weak. So I'm going to put in like a second layer of white. That is, once again, I'm checking my craftsmanship, and I feel like my craftsmanship, when I painted it initially, was good. It wasn't great. So the paint could have been a little bit thicker. Okay, so this part over here, thankfully the majority of the paint fell in the black area, but this part right here, I'm gonna try a couple things. I'm gonna blot a little bit, and then I'm gonna let my brush, after I rinse out my brush, I'm gonna try painting yellow on top. So I just pressed down with the paper towel and lifted. You could see it did take off a lot of paint, thank goodness. Now a clean section of paper towel, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna press and then I'm gonna lift. I'm not rubbing, I'm pressing and lifting. So it's not gonna be perfect. You're probably still gonna see the black, but that's okay. I'm rinsing out my brush. And I'm gonna wipe it off. So black really likes to stay inside of paintbrushes. So make sure you give it a good rinse. Okay. And I'm gonna switch over to the yellow. Oops, make sure it's dry, no drips. Switch over to the yellow, and I'm gonna paint a little bit on top of that. And I might have to do it twice. As you can see, it's already peeking through. But I can camouflage it. So that makes me happy. I may even dot a little bit and make it thicker. Okay, and while I wait for that to dry, I'm gonna fix the white. Then I'm super excited to see what you guys are doing, so make sure you send me pictures. Okay, a little bit more white, and I'm gonna fix this right here. There we go. Oh, that looks good. I like that. It actually needed that no matter what, because now it's like super bright. Okay, oh look, I missed a spot with my blue. Rinse out my brush again. See, I'm checking my craftsmanship. And I'm gonna add a little bit more blue, and that's just straight blue, so I didn't have to color mix. Okay, what do you think? Cute little, dude, do you think he's an imposter or do you think he's a crewmate? Jury's out. All right, thanks for painting.